I was born and raised in the Bible Belt, an area where superstition and religion meet. I've seen the most church-going of churchgoers draw 3X's on their windshields after a black cat crossed their path of travel. I've seen a pastor deliberately avoid walking under a ladder. I've seen women pick up a heads-up penny in the parking lot, but leave a tails-up quarter behind. Growing up for me, I know it became a habit to not step on cracks, never open an umbrella inside, and the numbers 13 and 666 made me nervous. Religion was a big part of my life after my mom married my stepdad, a Baptist preacher. At around 14 or 15, I began having my doubts. By the time I reached my sophomore year in college, I identified as an atheist. I've studied superstitions and paranormal events, and what I found is that the unexplainable can be explained by physics, logic, or even nature. All except one happening from my childhood. This one thing has haunted me my entire life. My stepdad owned a farm. He raised a lot of our food, and hogs were a regular animal kept, fed, and killed for meat. Every year, sometime after Thanksgiving, but before Christmas, my mom's brother would come help my stepdad slaughter our hogs. I was 13 in the winter of 1998. I know it was 1998, because Furbys were the hot new toy everyone wanted for Christmas. I tried to pretend I didn't want one. Hello, I was a teenager. But deep down, I was hoping my mom could see through my facade. My Uncle Benji was the youngest of my mom's siblings, and he was a lot like a brother to me. He had recently married his longtime girlfriend, Sherry, and they were expecting a baby in the next several months. I remember my mom being upset about Benji bringing Sherry along that day. And I remember her saying, "Don't you know you'll mark your baby?" Sherry was headstrong, and not being from a farming family, she wanted to experience it firsthand. My mom objected several times, but Sherry told her she wasn't afraid of any old wives' tale. The day went along without a hitch. Sherry and Benji stayed for dinner. We played cards, and they headed back home not long after dark. I didn't give a second thought about what my mom said until I heard her on the phone 2 days later. Stillborn, deformed, 18 weeks, boy. I strained to listen, but that was all I could successfully make out without being caught eavesdropping. My mom said that she would be at the hospital in half an hour. "I told her," my mom repeated as she applied her makeup and put the finishing touches on her outdated 80s hair. "I told her so." "Mom, can I ride with you?" "Why? To be nosy?" "No, I just thought maybe we could swing by Kmart and check the prices on Furbys. You know, for Christmas." Mom hated the fact that I was growing up, and she took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. I guess that could be our reason for not staying long. I filed behind my mother into the hospital, down the hall, to the left, and into a rickety elevator. Mom pressed number 6. "What happened to Aunt Sherry's baby, Mom?" "She went into labor early. When it came out, it wasn't breathing." "Do they know what caused it?" "I know what caused it. She marked it." "Mom, I don't know what that means." "She cursed the baby by watching the hog die. You can't do things like that while carrying an unborn child. You'll mark it." I was even more confused. How could you curse a fetus by watching a pig die? You have to understand, though, I've been exposed to stuff like this my entire life. I just blew it off as another weird superstition. The elevator slowed to a stop and the doors creaked open. I followed my mom into the women's pavilion hallway and to the right. Women's Pavilion. That sounds like the name of a spa. How could a floor with such a pleasant name house such an unpleasant situation? My mom stopped at a room on the left. She knocked and cracked the door open to peek in. I stood right behind her. I I wanted to see what deformity the baby had. As soon as she took a step, I was right on her heels. I wanted to get inside before she could tell me that I couldn't be there. Sherry was sitting up in the bed. She cradled a bundle of blankets that looked to be no bigger than a hoagie bun. Her face was tear-streaked. Sweat-soaked pieces of hair hung in her eyes. My Uncle Benji was sitting in a chair beside her. He'd been crying too. I wanted to do something. I walked over to the hospital bed, passing my mom up. I leaned over to Sherry and gave her an awkward hug. "I'm so sorry," I whispered. She gave me a weak smile. "Isn't he beautiful?" I looked down at my little cousin. I lifted the small toboggan that was too large for his tiny head. Baby looked normal, except for one thing. There was a tiny snout where a nose should have been.